Wanna try riding on Lionel's back?
Can I try riding you instead? Hello, and welcome back to Twisted Carnival. This is a dark romance dating sim with Yandere vibes in which you go to a carnival and meet several of the charming showmen. However, as the night goes by, it becomes apparent that something is very, very wrong. Let's get started. Festivities. Bright lights and colors greeted me at the entrance of the Carnival of Curiosities. The air buzzed with activity. In the distance, I could make out rows and rows of booths and sideshow tents of various sizes. I'm so lucky to be here. It's such a rare opportunity. The Carnival of Curiosities only happens once every 5 years. It's so exclusive that people say you can only ever see it once in your life. I reached into my bag to make sure my trusty camera was still there. I managed to sneak it in. I can't wait to capture as much of this rare carnival as possible. I scanned the itinerary. There are multiple listings for various sideshows that were taking place tonight. There's a lot going on, How about I explain the main sideshow attractions? Because of conflicting performance times, you'll only be able to see 2 of them tonight. So which performer do you want to hear more about? Casey and Leon in this case? Okay, I think I should also move myself. I ask about Casey. Casey the acrobatic virtuoso is a dazzling display of agility and grace and skill that'll leave you breathless. Watch as he performs incredible feats of balance and strength and coordination on the high wire, trapeze, and aerial seal wheel. He'll amaze you with his twists, flips, and spins that defy gravity and logic. And he's also 100% a freaking Yandere in disguise. Not to mention many say he's as charming as he is talented. A real white knight type. My eyes must be playing tricks on me. That can't be Casey, my close childhood friend, right? Let's go with Leon. Leon the Lion Tamer Extraordinaire is a spectacular show of courage, charisma, and command that'll astonish you. Witness as Leon roams free with Lionel, the fiercest and most majestic lion in the world. Lionel obeys Leon's every command from sitting and roaring to jumping through hoops of fire. By the way, Leon's pretty easy on the eyes and a total stun. At least that's what others have said. Alright, let's go. Oh, look at the time. If you don't hurry, you'll miss the first main sideshow attraction. Thank you. As I rushed off, I stared at the itinerary. If I can only see 2 main attractions, who should I see first? Casey. Welcome, folks. I am the Carnival of Curiosities' illustrious show mistress. Get ready for a dazzling display of agility, grace, and skill. Introducing Casey, the acrobatic virtuoso. Casey appeared on an elevated platform. The spotlight on him moved down, drawing attention to the fact that there was no safety net below. This performance is truly death-defying. Don't try this at home, folks. He's so cute. Casey wasted no time, easily walking the high wire from one elevated platform to the next. He readied himself and then jumped towards a trapeze bar. As if it was second nature, he gracefully twisted his body so that his legs were hooked onto the bar and he could grab the next one. Just like that, he swung onto yet another elevated platform. A large metal ring slowly lowered from high above. It looked like a suspended seal wheel, and Casey easily swung his way over the large seal wheel. There he twisted and turned dizzyingly, but with such grace I couldn't help but be astounded. He even performed in a seal wheel on the ground. It was a mesmerizing performance of power, beauty, and balance. Thank you, everybody. For my last trick, I'm gonna need a volunteer with a lot of courage. While he spoke, a safety net was being set up. Audience members were already raising their hands. This volunteer will have to jump from a medium-high platform, aiming for the safety net below. Casey pointed to the platform in question, and safety net in turn. If I pull off this trick right now, my volunteer won't ever reach the safety net. Casey walked towards the audience, coming up closely to see everyone's eager faces. Random people offered him high fives and tried to reach out to him. Casey continued to scan the crowd until his honey-colored gaze landed on me. I waved at him, and in return, Casey brightly smiled, motioning for me to come closer. I was a bit hesitant. Clearly, he wanted me to be the volunteer, but I couldn't say no to him. I never could. Is that foreshadowing because he's a freak? I climbed down the stairs and Casey helped me onto the stage.
Thanks!
Yinny, I'm so happy to see you here. Thanks for watching my performance tonight. Casey beamed and took my purse for me.
So all you have to do is climb up that ladder. When you're ready, jump, trust me, and I'll do the rest.
I'm scared of heights. Do I have to? Alright, I'm trusting you with my life. Don't disappoint me.
When have I ever?
There's a double meaning in that. He laughed and went to get ready while I did the same. Soon I was in position. You got this. After mentally pumping myself up, I sprinted off and jumped. Aww. It wasn't long before a set of arms caught me and I felt myself flying through the air.
This may be a bit difficult, but grab the ring here, put your feet there. Perfect.
Aww. And Casey brought us to the large suspended seal wheel. I was attempting to balance us both inside of it. To my surprise, it was actually going well. He held me close to him, drawing me in by my waist. I held onto him and the seal wheel for dear life and couldn't stop myself from looking down. Casey could sense my nervousness immediately.
Hey, I've got you. Don't look down. Look at me. Try not to tense your muscles up so much.
I mean, Casey, that's very, very easy for you to say, but I am flying in the air with no experience. He said all this very soothingly, staring into my eyes with his familiar sweet smile. I followed his instructions and found that he was right. If I only looked at him, I wasn't so stiff and nervous. I mean, something else of his is stiff, probably. Is that a magical prop in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Casey slowly twirled us around, adjusting both of our weights masterfully.
You're really getting the hang of this. Pun absolutely intended.
Shut up, Ben. Of course it is, but the praise should go to you. You're a great teacher. I laughed and carefully kept hold of both the metal wheel and Casey. He shifted his body into mine a bit more so that he was closer. Whoa, if that was even possible. Doing so slowed the wheel down so that we could come to a stop. I don't know if it was the excitement of a new experience, the way Casey was looking at me, or if it was how close he was, but I was suddenly becoming nervous again for a completely different reason than before. I could feel my cheeks getting hot and my heart pounding harder than before. Something else is going to be pounding me later, if you know what I mean. I tensed up all over again at the thought that Casey could probably feel my pounding heart.
Hey, no need to get so worked up again. Relax.
Hey, how about you try clinging to a hot man in the midair? Casey tried to soothe me again. Only this time it was having the opposite effect. Easy for you to say. I don't think I can calm down right now. We're gonna get off soon, right? Unfortunately, yes, but you did so well the first time. Why can't you calm down again? I'm frightened. I'd rather not talk about that. I felt myself become noticeably redder. Yeah, because I felt the thing that you were hiding. Casey seemed a bit startled at my reaction. His cheeks also slowly started to flush as he readjusted his grip on me. Look at him blush. Well, I can see what you mean. We were pretty close. His son Silva started to slowly descend to the ground. It's okay if you're uncomfortable and you don't like it. No, it's not that. I'm just not used to this, I guess. And Casey laughed, shaking his head. What are you talking about? That's impossible. We've hugged and been close to each other so many times. When you were smaller, you were a certified hug monster. Okay, that's enough about my embarrassing past. I don't know though. Right now it's just different. Casey softly gazed at me with an expression I didn't recognize on him. That's alright, as long as you're enjoying yourself. As soon as the wheel was on the ground, I let go of Casey quickly and muttered, Yeah, I am enjoying myself. The audience had started to slowly stream out of the tent. I went to go and collect my purse, and when I turned back, I noticed Casey was surrounded by a crowd of people, most of them women. I thought about leaving, but before I could, Casey managed to escape the crowd and pulled me to the back dressing room. Whoa, right now?
So, what did you think?
Is this the part where you whip it out? I knew immediately he was referring to his performance. Oh yeah, it was great. It was very lengthy. You really spun it around super well. Are we still talking about the acrobatics or something else? Are you kidding me? You're amazing. I never knew you were such a talented acrobat. When I first saw you on the Carnival itinerary, I couldn't really believe it was you. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I mean it in the best possible way. You dazzled me. Casey was at a loss for words, suddenly bashful. By the way, why didn't you ever tell me you were such a talented performer at the Carnival of Curiosities? How did you become such a good acrobat without me noticing? It's just something I picked up over the years. I never tried to hide it from you. I guess I'll have to forgive you for not telling me about your secret double life as an amazing acrobat. After all, I don't think I ever told you about how much I've always wanted to visit this carnival and capture it on camera. I'm honored you're so forgiving, and I see you're the same as usual, always taking your camera with you in every way you go and snapping a million pictures. No need to be so sarcastic, we should be flattered. I got so many good pics of your performance. Casey struck a gallant pose. He lifted his head up high, threw back his shoulders and put his hands on his hip. I hope you got my good side. I'm a hard subject to capture. You know me, I always do. The air around Casey suddenly shifted. He paused for a moment, his expression becoming soft and bittersweet. Some things about you never change. I'm glad you're still taking so many pictures. It reminds you when we were kids. Casey had turned so wistful and serious, I wasn't sure what to say. I'm not gonna make the same mistake again. I have a ton of pictures of my mom and everyone I care about. I wouldn't have it any other way. I just wish I'd taken more pictures of my dad, but it's okay. I have enough. Casey nodded. He seemed a bit melancholic but was listening closely. I smiled, trying to lift the mood back up. I can't wait to show my mom all the pictures I take tonight. She'd never expect me to be here. I know she'd appreciate the sights as much as I am. Carnival's always made her happy since they reminded her of Dad. Despite my attempts, Casey actually seemed like he'd become a bit upset, although he tried his best to hide it with a smile. That's right. Your dad was obsessed with carnivals. I'll leave it to you to follow in his footsteps. Anyways, I was wondering if you want to hang out and enjoy the carnival together. I'd love to. Do you even have to ask? Of course. Casey's real smile came out now. I'll be a bit busy with the second performance, but we can meet up afterwards. How about we meet up at the statue near the entrance of the carnival? You can't miss it. See you there, Yandere. I took that as my cue to leave. Casey and I headed back towards the main performance area. I waved back at him as he headed towards the back of the platforms, and that's when the show mistress appeared and called out to him. I was a distance away, but I still caught a bit of what they were saying since most of the audience had left. Congratulations on a marvelous show. Your fans are so verbose, I could barely hear my own thoughts. But her words were congratulatory and her voice was silk. Her tone was unmistakably passive-aggressive. If only they knew who you really are, and what you've inflicted upon an innocent. Casey hung his head, taking the verbal abuse for some reason. I want to stay and make things right. Please, let me stay. The show mistress scoffed. You're so pathetic, but loyal. Stay as long as you please. Be ready this time, and make yourself useful. It's starting soon. Casey plastered on a fake smile since carnival goers were still around. He rushed backstage again, avoiding everyone. The audience, realizing the show was truly over, started pouring out of the tent. I was forced to go with the flow of the crowd even though I wanted to check up on Casey. Maybe I could ask him what happened, and if he's okay when we meet up. The carnival. A sea of lights and people buzzed with activity. I took up my itinerary. This is the last main attraction I can see. Who should I choose? Let's go with Leon.
Welcome!
Humans are as much beasts as any creature. If a person is able to tap into their inner primal energy, it's possible to form bonds with feral creatures. Get ready for a spectacular show of courage, charisma, and command that will astonish you. Introducing Leon the Lion Tamer Extraordinaire and his lion, Lionel. Leon and Lionel? Oh, the fat lion pushing in the back is so cute. Also, I like how Leon's got his boobas out and he's got a collar on. It's kind of cute. Leon made an impactful entrance. As soon as the lights came by, he rode into the arena on Lionel's back. Lionel roared ferociously as he ran around the perimeter of the area. Lionel was a huge lion, easily 2 to 3 times the size of regular African lions.
Let me hear you!
Lion encouraged the audience as he carefully stood up on Lionel's back and jumped off. While the lion was still running at full speed, Leon landed on all fours and lifted his arms up, causing the audience to cheer louder than they had before. Leon gave a quick bow, then whistled. Lionel came bounding back to him, tackling him with love.
Without further ado, Lionel and I will begin the show.
He kind of reminds me of Bakugo. First, Leon and Lionel showed off their agility and coordination. Leon walked to the middle of the performance area and picked up a giant hoop. Lionel jumped through it at varying heights effortlessly. Leon pounced on the tightrope platform, and Lionel obediently followed. Together they walked the tightrope, and Lionel even jumped through a hoop Leon held over his head while they both balanced. The two jumped down from the tightrope to wild applause. Lionel growled with pride. Leon displayed Lionel's obedience with basic commands. Sit, lie down, roll over, and having him stand on his hind legs as steak treats. Their relationship was easy to see. When Leon pet Lionel, the big cat rubbed affectionately against his hand.
This next trick is sure to impress.
Leon took a nearby torch, lit a hoop of flame, and attached it to a nearby metal pole. Without missing a beat, Lionel bounded towards the flaming hoop and effortlessly leapt through it.
I'd never have Lionel do anything I wouldn't do.
Declaring that, Leon created a distance from the flaming hoop and dashed towards it. Leaping through, Lionel caught Leon on his huge back. Lionel roared ferociously while Leon pet him.
Now that we're coming to the end of the show, would a lucky volunteer like to join us in the arena?
Lionel staked out the crowd, trotting in a circle along the enclosure of the performance area. I'd eagerly raised my hand along with many others. That's why I was surprised when Lionel stopped in front of me, sat down, and made eye contact. Leon jogged up to Lionel, following his gaze to me.
Look at that!
Aww.
Lionel is chosen. And it seems he has remarkably good taste for a lion.
Stop that. Also, why do you have a collar on? Is it for like fun times? I got a little heated and nervous hearing him boldly say something like that in front of an audience. Still, I stood up when Leon beckoned me closer. He's really hot. Leon helped me into the performance area while Lionel sat patiently a few feet away. Very aware of the dangerous large feline, I felt skittish.
Don't be shy. Why don't you take my arm? I'll escort you.
Shut up. I laced my arm in Leon's and together we approached Lionel slowly and calmly. Leon gently whispered some instructions.
Avoid making sudden movements or loud noises. And respect Lionel's personal space. Don't invade it if he seems uncomfortable.
Leon stood next to me and took the lead, petting Lionel's mane. He then encouraged me and I softly did the same. He's so fluffy. Leon chuckled at my reaction. I internally squealed so as not to frighten Lionel.
Definitely is. Good job, you two.
All right. Are you ready to take it to the next level? Want to try riding on Lionel's back? He seems to like you.
Can I try riding you instead? You wouldn't put me on his back. I looked at Lionel and Lionel would look back at me. I pet his mane again. I wonder if he'd be okay with that, you pretty big cat.
He'll be just fine. Get ready.
Wow. Oh god, Leon's so pretty. Leon suddenly boosted me up. With his help, I managed to climb onto Lionel's back, though my heart was pounding like crazy. Leon's gonna be hopefully pounding me like crazy later. Leon held onto my hand to steady me. When I was secure, I looked down at Lionel, not quite believing I was actually sitting on a lion. I beamed and looked up at the audience and they started applauding. It was all so surreal. I barely heard Leon talking to me.
So, do you want to head backstage and check out the lion's quarters? It's a rare offer I only give to those who capture Lionel's attention.
I could only nod, still overwhelmed but exhilarated.
You've been a great audience. Thanks for your support. Remember to love and protect all wildlife, especially those endangered or threatened by human activity.
God, so real. That just made Leon so many times harder. Leon waved to the crowd and motioned for Lionel to follow him. 3 of us exited the arena. Leon and Lionel walked side by side while I sat on Lionel's back. Oh, there's so many cats and dogs. Once we were backstage, Leon helped me off Lionel and started to lead him to his enclosure. If you don't mind, stay put while I take care of Lionel. As Lionel and Leon walked away, I noticed they both had tails. Leon's long silky braid looked just like a lion's tail. Can I tug it? Leon, do you braid your hair like that so you and Lionel could match? Leon and Lionel both halted. Why do you have to sound so judgmental about it though? I wasn't, it's cute. If I wasn't mistaken, Leon was blushing. So it is on purpose. Lionel swished his tail happily while Leon grumbled. Thought it'd be kinda cool if we matched. It's absolutely adorable. That's one way to look at it. I think it's stylish. Lionel nudged his head into Leon's arm. Alright, sorry for delaying your feeding, big guy. You can blame her for that. After accusing me playfully, Leon led his furry companion into a large, sturdy enclosure. Not too far away, there were smaller enclosures with a couple of cute dogs and cats. They're so cute. I rushed over to their enclosures. The dogs were wagging their tails while the cats regarded me apathetically. Seems like a cat. Isn't that right, Bud? Isn't that right, my little shrimplet? I rushed over to their enclosures. The dogs were wagging their tails while the cats regarded me apathetically. I looked over and Leon was feeding Lionel, so I figured I may as well pet the excited dogs. I crouched down and scratched their heads through the gaps in the gate. Oh god. I looked over and Leon was feeding Lionel, so I figured I may as well pet the excited dogs. I crouched down and scratched their heads through the gaps in the gate. I see you found the strays and lost pets. Leon laughed warmly. At such a big event like this, pets always get lost and there's always some strays. For the lost pets, I usually look for their owners, or if all else fails, rehome them. For the strays, I have them fixed and find them homes or return them to where I found them if they're too feral. Oh, he's so sweet. That's actually really sweet of you, Leon. I'm impressed. I was completely absorbed by the cute fur babies vying for my attention. You know, looking at you like this, you can very well be a cute lost pet too. Oh, Leon, you think so? You wanna put a collar on me as well? Leon's voice was directly behind me now. I saw his hand reach past me to pet the excited dogs as I was. I nearly jumped. A lost kitty? Leon said the words slowly, as if savoring them. With that adorable cat pet, I think so. Yeah, I like that. A lost kitty playing with her fellow lost pets. But you don't have to stay lost. I could adopt you. How about it? Leon was all confidence with a smooth smile. Asked such a question point blank, my brain froze for a second before I quickly stood up and shoved Leon away. Where do you get off to asking me that? Or creeping up on me so closely? I struggled to come up with an insult as I eyed Leon up and down. Don't worry, I'll come up with an insult. You gorgeous big titty man. Yeah, take that. And you like them apples. Eventually, I blurted out something random. You and your fancy boots can watch as I walk away. There was complete silence for a second. I was annoyed. Leon's face was blank and he then burst out laughing. Me and my fancy boots. I immediately blushed at my crappy insult. You think they're fancy? This gives the same vibes as David from Lilo and Stitch. He's just like, she thinks it's fancy? They're made of luscious vegan leather. They're expensive and precious. He stuck his leg out, showing off one of his boots.
Little kitty.
Whoa! Say it again, I'll bend over. Are you seriously comparing me to boots right now? And a little kitty? That's just the way my fancy boots, and I apologize for being too forward. To repay you, how about I let you into the enclosure to play with the cats? They could use the company of another cute cat. I hesitated, taking a second to think. I noticed all of the animal enclosures had plenty of space, food and water, and even toys. Clearly Leon put a lot of time and effort and love into taking care of these animals. A guy like that couldn't be all bad. Alright, just for a bit. The cats do deserve some love too. That's the spirit. With a kind kitty. Leon led me into the cat's enclosure. There were only 2 cats. One seemed to be a stray because it ran away from me immediately, but the other cat approached me easily. It had a cute bell attached to its collar. What a sweet cat. I gently pet its fluffy coat. It rubbed its head against my hand, asking for scratches. Eventually, even the stray who ran away at first came wandering closer, and Leon chuckled. Looks like they both want your attention. Can't say I blame them. Never fear. I have two hands. I have two hands for a reason, but this time, it's to be used purely to pet two animals. Wow, my god, this cat back here looks like it's seen some shit. Puddles, this cat looks like you. I smiled and pet both of the love-starved cats. The one wearing a bell started climbing up on me. Ow, ow, claws. The adventurous cat found its way onto my shoulder, then back. I had to hunch over so it didn't fall off. I ended up laughing. I must look ridiculous. No, I wouldn't say so. You have all the grace of a feline and the cats look happy. I looked over to Leon and realized he was staring at me as if I were a cute animal myself. I couldn't stop myself from blushing. The animals take to you too quickly. It's an admirable quality. You're quite the animal charmer. At this rate, you'll be a Leon charmer too. Oh, you don't say. Take your pants off. I was at a loss for words at his audacity. What about my audacity? I'm pretty audacious myself. Leon charmer? Really? I thought I was a little kitty. Leon totally ignored my commentary. What are your plans for the rest of the carnival? Would you have some time to spend with me? Despite the corny flirting, Leon doesn't seem like a bad person. And he's surprisingly considerate of animals. I guess it couldn't hurt. Alright, I'm giving you a chance. Impress me. You're challenging me. You're on. I have to make sure Lionel and the other animals are properly locked up, taken care of, and tucked in for the night. Shouldn't take too long. Any suggestions where we could meet up? How about the statue near the entrance of the carnival? You can't miss it. I'll be there. Leon waved as I headed out of the backstage arena. Just then, the show mistress crossed my path, tipping her hat with a smile as she walked towards the backstage area I'd left. Check out as many sideshows, games, and wondrous sights as you can. After all, the carnival's here to entertain and rejuvenate the body and mind. I see to that personally. Ayo, she sauntered away. In the distance, I heard Leon call out to her.
Drinking buddy.
Hey, there's my drinking buddy. I know it's not right to eavesdrop, but I walked a bit slower since I was already out of sight, and I could hear the show mistress's boisterous laughter. You two better not be boinking. We'll celebrate afterwards soon enough. The preparation's already complete. Leon was very quiet, which didn't seem like him at all. When he did speak, his voice had a dark quality, as if he dropped the act. I'll look up the animals and do what I do best, keeping a watchful eye over everything and intervene if necessary. It got quiet, so I walked away. I didn't want to be found out if their conversation came to a close early. I idly waited near our agreed-upon meeting place when I noticed Leon in the distance. Hey, fancy boots. Over here. When I called out to Leon, he seemed a bit surprised, but casually waved and walked over.
Have you no shame, little kitty?
No.
Did you realize the stares you were getting by using that nickname so loudly?
Shame? Have you heard the shit that I say in my other videos? I don't care. I'd do it again. Oh yeah. I'd totally do it again. His voice is really nice. I think his is probably my favorite. I flashed him a smile. Smile, Yinny. Amused, Leon laughed. Yinny! Casey waved at me from across the crowd, rushing to meet me at the statue. He was full of energy. However, once he realized Leon was standing next to me, he halted. They both looked at each other. Casey was surprised, and Leon with a martyr's taste that faded quickly into a smile.
Pipsqueak.
You're tagging along with us today. What are you doing here with Yinny? Shouldn't you be with Lionel or something? Lionel's been tucked away for the night. You know how he is. Once he knocks out, he can sleep through anything. Okay, but I'm not tagging along. Yinny's my friend, you know. Friend. Huh? Boys, there's no need to fight over me. I've got two hands for a reason. I'm not ashamed to be part of an Eiffel Tower. Leon chuckled and Casey was the one to get annoyed now. I decided to jump in and try to smooth things over. Hey, guys. I'm right here. You two know each other?
Pipsqueak.
Yeah, I've known Pipsqueak here since I started working at the carnival. Quite with that weird nickname. Oh, so I'm not the only one who gets a nickname. Leon gives everyone nicknames for no reason. Wait, what nickname did he give you? Just as I was about to speak, Leon cut in. We should all go and check out the bumper cars. I've been craving some electric car action. I've been craving some action of another kind, Leon. As Leon passed by me, he whispered,
Little kitty.
Let's keep your nickname between us. Man, bend over, Leon. I looked at Casey as Leon led the way to the bumper cars. Casey shrugged. Long as we get to do my thing, I don't mind. I scoffed at Leon's antics but followed along. The bumper cars were packed and lively. At the front of the line, there were only two-seater cars left. Leon, if you want to thrust me so badly, you could have just told me. Who should I share a bumper car with? I'm gonna share with Casey this time. Casey, let's share a bumper car. I call dibs on driving. Then I call dibs on shotgun. Our bumper car zipped around surprisingly quickly. I dodged those trying to bump into us so I can get to my target, Leon. Almost. Try again. Leon goaded us happily. It was difficult to catch him, and Leon seemed to be having fun playing cat and mouse. Leon's good, but he's trapped in here just like we are. If you corner him right, you hit your target. Casey was having a fun time playing along. Did you know you could drift in these things? No, but now I have to try it. My eyes must have been shining like a madwoman as I stomped down on the pedal. Whoa, easy there. Okay, turn here. With Casey's instructions, the bumper car's back wheels slid into a perfect dip. However, I soon lost control and slammed into a random person. Casey and I looked at each other and burst out laughing. Leon soon passed, making eye contact and drifting perfectly. He's asking for it. Get him, Yinny. I began to tail Leon. As I was getting close, another bumper car got in the way at the last minute. I looked over to Casey. His eyes are suddenly glazed over. Casey, it's alright.
Get out of the way.
Don't do it, Yinny. Get out of the way. He reached out into thin air. His voice was so laden with worry and sadness it stirred something in me. A deep panic told me that Casey and I were in danger. Bumping into the random driver snapped me out of my thoughts. When I looked over to Casey again, he was wistfully staring right at me. A mixture of darkness and warmth in his glistening gaze. Glistening gaze? What else is glistening? What was that? Casey shook his head, then gave me his usual smile. What was that? You told me not to do something, to get out of the way, and then you were acting strange. I don't think I was. I don't think so. I was telling you not to bump into the person who got in our way. It was hard to believe his words, but maybe there was something he didn't want to talk about, so I didn't press him. But I guess if you say so. Casey placed a hand on my arm. I'm so happy to be here with you right now like this. You were hiding something. I could tell he genuinely meant it, so I brightened a little. Me too. Now let's bring Leon down a peg. He deserves to be bumped. He deserves to be pegged. That's what he deserves. I laughed and started driving, tailing Leon again. Try to wait until he drives near the right side of the track. It's very crowded right now. Casey pointed over to the area. Just as Casey predicted, a few kids got in Leon's way. I was able to speed up and crash right into him, sending him sliding into the rubber-lined track railing. The only problem was that we were now all sitting ducks, so multiple kids and other bumper car drivers started bumping into us. Not bad. Good match. Casey offered me a high five and hugged me tightly. Oh, Casey pulled away, a blush spreading across his cheeks. I didn't mean to grab you just like that. What are you talking about? Our victory deserves a victory hug. This time I hugged Casey, and he slowly but surely returned it. When we both ended up nearly toppling over because a random kid T-boned our bumper car, we both roared with laughter. Since we're done with the bumper cars, the next up is the Ferris wheel. No disagreements allowed. Casey dragged the group to the Ferris wheel. I see where you're going with this. Trying to woo her, are you? Casey completely ignored Leon, talking to me eagerly.
I've been wanting to bring you here, so you could experience how beautiful the carnival looks from above.
I would also like to experience how beautiful you look from above, if you know what I mean. Oh, you're so thoughtful. I'm gonna get an awesome picture of the scenery from the top. I knew you'd want to. As our group ascended, I took out my camera and snapped pictures of both the scenery and Leon and Casey riding in the cabin with me. It wasn't possible to take pictures when we're riding in the bumper cars, but this should make up for it. As we reached the very top, I decided to take a selfie with Casey. Given that the cabins are small and only seated 2 on each side, I decided to take a selfie with Casey. Aww, Casey? I demand you take an amazing picture of us. I gave him my camera and squeezed him closer to pose. Casey moved in closer, albeit a little bashfully, and held up my camera.
Say cheese!
Cheese. He snapped the picture. I checked it out and showed it to him. Oh, what a cute picture. It's the cutest. I'm lucky to always take pictures of someone as cute as you. Though Casey sounded nonchalant, I felt myself blushing. Stop joking around. You always say stuff like that to mess with me. That's not true. I've always felt like that. To me, you're... Casey trailed off, not saying any more on the topic. He scooted away to a more appropriate distance. I'm the coolest person to ever hold a camera, obviously. Can I borrow and take some pictures too? I smiled and handed him my camera. He sighed for some reason, looking both relieved and regretful. Casey, just confess, I already know you're a freak. But just so you know, in all our pictures together, I've always thought your bright smile was the cutest.
Oh.
Casey nearly choked on air. Good God, man, make a move. This is painful to watch. The Ferris wheel lurched. That didn't feel normal. Everyone looked out of the cabin trying to figure out what happened. I noticed the Ferris wheel operator was missing, and I could hear faint screaming. Given that the cabins were moving slowly enough, it was possible to jump out when we reached the ground. I reached for Casey's hand. He gave my hand a reassuring squeeze and smiled at me. Together we jumped from the cabin when it was at its lowest point, and Leon jumped down immediately after. Upon exiting the Ferris wheel, I stared aghast as people started to transform into grotesque creatures. They looked so odd and inhuman that they seemed almost alien. The carnival goers were transforming into true alien horrors. Tonight had already been so surreal that all I could do was go blank. My mouth agape at the unfolding chaos. Not only were people transforming into unearthly beings, but they were going mad and attacking nearby people. A fully transformed alien horror turned to our group and let out a shrill shriek, running at us at full speed. Let's get out of here. Casey tugged on me while Leon came up from behind us. We need to stick together and move towards a less populated area. This way. He pointed and everyone took off together. As far as I could see, carnival goers were running for their lives. I almost didn't believe what I was a witness to. We're heading towards... Yes, so stay sharp. Alright then. I know a shortcut. Let's go this way. Casey swerved to the left, darting into the small space between tents. Leon followed, but I could tell he was keeping a watchful eye on me to ensure I was keeping up. They both suddenly halted before a large clearing. We have to cross this clearing and make it to the tents on the other side. Leon surveyed the area. Agreed. We go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Casey, Leon and I dash out from between the tents and we're about halfway across the clearing, teeming with people and transforming alien horrors when I realized I could go no further. I stopped, gasping for breath. There wasn't much else I could do. I retreated and nestled myself in a small nook between 2 closely set up tents. I needed to think and act quickly. What should I do? Well, time to flee and run until I find my companions. There were so many alien horrors roaming freely now that there was no possible way I could fight any of them successfully. Nor was I in a position to help others when I could barely even help myself. The best course of action was to catch up with the others as quickly as I could. After stealing myself, I sprung from my hiding place and ran in the general direction I last saw Casey and Leon. I dodged fleeing carnival goers and alien horrors alike. Luckily, I made it across the clearing and darted into another maze of narrow pathways between tents and booths. It was a clean break. No creatures followed me. To my disbelief, I spotted an Auburn and blonde-haired duo in the distance. I immediately sprinted towards them. When I realized they were having a heated conversation, I slowed down. The lizards are acting crazy. They're attacking us as if they don't recognize us, so they must be able to attack even Yinny. Casey was extremely aggravated and worried, trying his best to whisper yell. We need to double back farther and find her quickly before she gets hurt. The lessers don't need long to take over a host. It still may take a while for the Reavers to appear and actually cull the lessers down to a reasonable number. That makes it all the more difficult. Lessers? Reavers? Full of questions, I made myself known. Casey, Leon, what are you talking about? What are lessers and Reavers? I eyed the two suspiciously. They sounded as if they knew what was happening, and even worse, they were helping it happen. Do you know how people are turning into these horrific monsters? Leon seemed genuinely surprised at my sudden appearance, while Casey was beyond relieved. Casey took my hand and pulled me in closer, as if that would ensure my safety. I fought back against his grip, staying a good distance away, peering at both Leon and Casey warily. Casey was certainly hurt, but he didn't try and approach me again. Lessers are the alien creatures taking over everyone's bodies. Reavers are magical beings that will destroy them, which works in our favor. I can explain more later, but we need to get moving. I promise I'll protect you at all costs. No matter what terrible things you must be thinking about me right now, please, know that your safety is my only priority. Casey's vow was dead serious and sincere. I faltered, sensing nothing but good intentions from him. I'm sorry for not watching over you more carefully, Yinny. I'll do everything in my power now to protect you. But you need to stay with us, so I can do that. The seriousness in Leon's tone swayed me further. I felt conflicted, and was tempted to press the matter, if it wasn't for an alien horror shrieking nearby. It was uncomfortably close, so I gave my consent and the group began to move again. The tireless running was never ending. We alternated between full-on sprinting and sneaking past unfortunate people transformed into alien horrors. Eventually we found our way into an empty tent. After securing all entrances and exits, it was deemed safe enough to rest in for a while. I was breathing raggedly, and all but collapsed onto the floor. Casey and Leon had hardly broken a sweat. If anything, Leon seemed mentally tired that he was deep in thought. Casey on the other hand seemed just as peachy. His outfit was a bit dusty, but that was it. I was actually kinda jealous. Minutes of silence stretched on until I caught my breath. You two seem to know what's going on, to an extent at least. What can we do right now? Is there anywhere that's safe so we can get out of this chaos? We could rest in a magic warded tent along the way to the main tent. Things we performed in are all warded with magic. The magic isn't as powerful as the main tent's wards, but it's enough for a short break. I wholeheartedly agree. The main tent is the best option. Just then, the entrance tent flap was torn apart. An alien horror easily broke in and began wrecking everything, tossing chairs and tables around. It noticed us immediately. It ran towards me but crashed into one of the tent support poles, causing the lights to flicker. Everyone was scattered. Casey noticed me looking around, unsure what to do. He motioned for me to move closer to him. He was near the exit, poised to escape. The alien horror noticed Leon, shrieked and went in for an attack. I was able to move undetected. Good job, Yinny. You did great. Let's get out of here. Casey took my shaking hand and fled the tent. I felt torn leaving Leon behind, but I hoped he'd be able to fend off his foe and find his way to safety. I don't know how long I was running for, but I ran as fast and hard as I could to keep up with Casey. We were trying to shake off the alien horrors who had noticed us and pursued us. It seemed like there were less humans around and more monstrosities, so it was impossible to stop moving even for a moment. Just when things were looking their bleakest, shadowy entities emerged from the very ground. They looked like mad silhouettes with their eerily stretched grins and crazed eyes. The only discernible features were their eyes and mouths. The Reavers. Don't worry about them too much. It's the transformed people monsters you have to watch out for. The Reavers took down the alien horrors easily. They felled the monstrosities and then cracked their chests open to reveal bloody writhing slugs. I didn't get a great look at the slugs, but whatever they were, they looked and moved as if they did not belong to this world. They were truly alien creatures. Had those slugs caused all these people to transform into hideous horrors? Anyway, we're getting close to the tent I performed in earlier. It's on the way to the main tent and magic ward should be protecting the area. We can't get there soon enough. You poor thing. You get to rest soon. Though the shadowy reavers killed many monstrosities, a few managed to follow us. I wanted to keep running. Relief was almost in sight, but my heart felt like it was about to burst. I could feel the weakness and fatigue of earlier come surging back. My vision started swimming. Casey, I don't think I can do this anymore. I warned him with the last of my breath. It was difficult to even speak now. I'd slowed down so much that a few alien horrors got uncomfortably close and swiped at me. Casey looked back horrified. Duck! He moved fast, hovering over my crouching form to block an oncoming attack with his outer forearm. He twisted his body and swept the creature's feet out from under it. That just makes him hotter. Another monster attacks. Casey draws close to it, ramming his elbow into its chest. There was a sick, crunching sound as its chest caved in. Pitifully wailed. The third creature was positioned to hammer its overgrown fists upon Casey, but he easily dodged. He slammed his knee into the creature's abdomen and brought it down onto his back. Distracted by Casey's fight, I didn't notice that the first creature he'd swept off his feet was right behind me. It swung its claws mercilessly into my shoulder. I saw red for a second. Pain exploded through my shoulder and radiated down my arm and chest. Casey reacted immediately, his entire being ferocious and unforgiving. The alien horror attempted to swing down upon me again. Casey intervened and took the hit. It slashed him across his chest. But that didn't slow him, and he didn't stop until he caved in every alien horror's chest, crushing the alien slugs within. Heaving quick breaths, he offered me a hand and helped me up. He then crouched and turned around, offering me his back. Oh, I get to ride him. Get on, I can give you a ride the rest of the way. You can give me another ride later. Still mired by the weakness and fatigue of before and now wounded, I gladly climbed on. Thank you. Anything for you. Whoa, that face. Okay. His tone was chirpy, if not a bit worried, but its familiarity was soothing. I felt my tense muscles loosen as I carefully wrapped my arms around his shoulders and upper chest. Once we made it to Casey's performance tent, it was apparent the creatures weren't able to follow us in. I could tell there was some magical barrier erected. The alien horrors were unable to pass through the entrance. Some lost interest and left, others pounded against an invisible barrier. Inya, you alright? How bad is it? His beautiful golden eyes sorrowfully glistened. He winced as he looked at my wound. It looks that bad, huh? It feels like my arm was torn off at the shoulder. I held back a whimper. Casey disappeared and came back with a first aid kit and some water. He did his best to clean my wound and sew it up. I gnashed my teeth, bearing the pain. You can squeeze my arm if it helps. Or I can find you something to bite on. I shook my head. Please, just finish. Casey dutifully nodded and got back to work. When he was done, I tiredly slumped against a pole. Casey smiled at me and I gave him a tired smile back. You're hurt too, Casey. You took a nasty hit. He waved me off. Don't worry about me, I'm fine. I'm not taking no for an answer. If you won't take care of yourself, I will. I grabbed the first aid kit with determination and went to work, cleaning his wound. Casey's cheeks turned pink. Oh, he's rest instead. I tried to be as gentle as possible, using lighter touches. His injury was right across his chest, it must have stung. Even so, I noticed Casey blushing harder. Casey, I'm not trying to cop a feel or anything. I'm just here to make sure you're okay. I bandaged his wound as best as I could, carefully pressing clean gauze over and taping it down with medical tape. I traced the tape with my finger absent-mindedly, my touch lingering on him. I realized how close I was to him. His skin was so soft. His lean chest was firm beneath my fingertips. I turned entirely red, and somewhat mortified when it dawned on me that I'd been awkwardly touching Casey's toned chest for no reason. I hesitantly gazed at Casey from under my lashes, an indecipherable expression I'd never seen on him before, as if he were mesmerized. I didn't know how to react. My thoughts started racing. I pulled my hand back quickly, but Casey gently took it and guided it back against his chest over his heart. His heart was beating like crazy, as if it were trying to escape. I felt a mixture of both relief and nervousness from this new discovery. Casey had been a constant in my life since I was a child. Somehow, something felt different about him. Or maybe it was just me who felt different. I thought the same during his performance earlier. He filled me with sweet jitters. I found myself unwilling to look away from him, unwilling to pull apart. Thank you for everything. For saving me, carrying me and taking care of me, and even everything before that. Casey's voice was sweet and light-hearted. Before that, you've been being your loyal follower and confidant. For always being there when I needed you. Even now, you're here when I need you. Casey's expression started to darken, startling me. Did I say something wrong? Casey shook his hand and grabbed both of my hands. You did nothing wrong. It's just, I haven't forgiven myself for what happened. It eats me up. What happened? That accident you're in was my fault. You saved me. I tried hard to recall what happened, my eyebrows furrowing when I could retrieve very little. We were walking across the street with a group of friends, and a drunk driver ran the red light. I could have died or been critically injured if it wasn't for you. I should have been paying more attention. I can't forgive myself for not being faster, so you wouldn't have had to save me. It's all fuzzy. I don't remember doing that. Yeah, having fuzzy memories after that bad of an accident is pretty normal. Casey, what you just described isn't your fault. It's the driver's fault. I know myself. I'm sure I'd save you again in a heartbeat. There's nothing to forgive. I acted on my own. I squeezed his hand comfortingly. Casey's eyes are watery. You would really do it again? Knowing all that pain and dealing with the problems you have now. I nodded, giving him my best and most genuine smile. Tears started falling down Casey's cheeks. I mean, it would suck to do it all again, but relearning about my actions from you? I don't regret them. Casey was full on sobbing and hugged me tightly. I returned his bear hug and rubbed his back. To think that Casey had been holding in all that sorrow. I hope I eased his conscience, even if it was just a little. Alien horrors and a loud pounding redirected Casey and I's attention. Once outside, even more alien horrors had gathered and were trying to break in. Casey pulled away and wiped his tears. We spent too much time dawdling. I've got to get you to the main tent. Your mom is actually there and can help you more with your wound. I don't want to wait to get it taken care of properly. We've got to move fast. Wait, my mom is here. I'll explain later. She's at the main tent. I'm not sure how much longer these wards will last. They're weaker than the main tent, so we should move. Wait, Casey, I've been thinking. I know you're set on getting to the main tent as soon as possible, and I understand the magic wards there are stronger, so we'd be safe. Don't we have any other options, though? Other options like what? Alright, fine, we'll go to the main tent. Never mind, you're right. Let's get to the main tent where we'll be safe. I can't believe my mom is there. I hope she's safe. I have so many questions for her. Casey was clearly relieved I chose to go to the main tent. The show mistress was the only soul I saw in the main tent. She stood in the middle of a large magic circle, her back to the entrance. Blood and guts littered the floor. There was a particularly large pile of what looked like bloody organs on the side of the magic circle. However, I couldn't be sure since the lighting was dim. I was taken aback by the state of the main tent and the scene before me, and I immediately regretted agreeing to come back here. This place didn't look safe at all. If anything, the whole area reeked of death and danger. More than anything, though, I was worried about my mom. I mustered my courage and spoke up. Where's my mom? Is she safe? Casey looked at me with confusion. Vivian's right in front of you. The show mistress turned around and slipped off her mask and hat, laughing. I must have changed quite a bit, because for some reason, even my own daughter never recognizes me immediately. I was stunned when I realized the show mistress had been my mom all along. She dyed her hair, wore clothes she never would have before, and was previously wearing a mask, which is why I didn't recognize her before, but it was undoubtedly her. I was surprised I didn't recognize her voice earlier. Now that I thought about it, even her voice sounded different. It was more authoritative and unmerciful. Vivian shifted her attention to Casey, her whole demeanor changing. Well, bringing Yinny here was the least you could do. You did manage to bring her in one piece. I see she was subjected to damage, but you curried some favor with me regardless. Vivian eyed my wounded shoulder distastefully and spoke to Casey quite passive-aggressively. Still, Casey looked quite pleased. Does this mean I get to see Yinny more? Vivian sneered but eventually nodded in agreement. So, my darling mini-me's. Vivian smiled at me warmly as she always had, though somehow she seemed much colder. You come just in time for the first harvest. We shouldn't delay, especially since your injury must hurt. Right on cue, a reaver drug in a freshly deceased alien horror. It sliced its chest and dug out an alien slug. Vivian snatched the dead, bloody alien from the reaver. It's so fresh. She immediately brought the disgusting slug-like creature to my lips, trying to feed me as if I were a child. I backed away so quickly I stumbled and landed on my butt. Are you trying to feed me that alien slug? I didn't even know what that is. How cute you call it an alien slug. It's a lesser Zyra. If you want to keep your strength and remain alive, you must eat as many of them as you can. I stare at her in disbelief. You're in a critical accident and a coma. If you don't do this, you won't stay conscious. You may not even survive. I stared down at the deceased, bloody lesser Zyra. It really did look like a large, grotesque slug. Could I actually eat this? We are resisting this time. The faces of my loved ones, the most trusted people in my life, were encouraging as they gently goaded me to eat the lesser Zyra.
I don't want to lose you. You mean everything to me.
Well, if I meant everything to you, sometimes you gotta let people go, okay?
My darling girl, please eat. It's the only way you'll stay healthy.
Just seeing the dead bodies of the alien slug-like creatures revolted me. Despite my mom and Casey's pleas, I couldn't bring myself to eat them. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh my dear lord. Casey, look at him. At my resistance, Casey's demeanor immediately changed. I tried to run, but my mom held me still while Casey chained my limbs down so I couldn't leave. He switched up so fast. I couldn't believe what was happening, that they were doing this to me. I trusted you, I shouted desperately. Let me go. You're both acting insane. How could you?
We're doing this for your own good. To save you. If only you could trust us. This would be over soon.
I'll never forgive you. I struggled violently against my bindings. Seated in the center of the magic circle, Casey chewed up a lesser Zyra, blood gushing out of his mouth and dribbling down his chin as he bit into it. Oh no, do not do what I think you're about to do. Oh, jeez. He hovered over me, pushing chewed alien slug mush into my mouth with his, as if I were a baby bird. Casey, stop! The metallic tang of blood filling my mouth was unfamiliar and disturbing. The worst of all was feeling the chunks of slimy raw alien slide into my mouth and down my throat. I immediately became nauseous and started gagging. Casey spoke to me soothingly and caressed the side of my face.
Remember, you have to keep it all down if you want to heal and stay alive.
I'm going to kick you in the newts. I felt my sanity slipping and I sobbed uncontrollably. This isn't real. This isn't happening. Casey persistently caressed the side of my face and my head. He chewed up another lesser Zyra and force-fed me repeatedly even while I was sobbing. I felt him push the raw alien slug mush into my mouth and down my throat with his tongue. Man, how long is his tongue? I somehow managed to choke it down.
You're doing such a wonderful job, my sweet angel. I'm so grateful you saved my life. I'll always serve you. I'll always do what's good for you, so you don't have to worry about anything. You've always been and always will be the one I love. My top priority.
I'm 2 seconds away from kicking you in the newts.
I'll take care of you in any way I can, even if I have to kill. Even if I have to force you to submit for your own good.
You're insane. Just stop. Stop. Casey chewed up another lesser Zyra, force-feeding me again.
Remember, all you have to do is breathe and eat.
Casey, bad and feast of the damned. Ew! That's so funny though. Alright, well, this time we are complying. The faces of my loved ones, the most trusted people in my life, were encouraging me as they gently goaded me to eat the lesser Zyra. I'll try. For you. My mind was muddled and confused, but I forced myself to the middle of the magic circle and choked down the lesser Zyra. I gagged and nearly threw up multiple times. Bile and the metallic tang of blood gushing into my mouth was unfamiliar and disturbing. Worst of all was having to thoroughly chew the slimy raw slug-like aliens so I could swallow them. Honestly, I was surprised I could keep everything down. Casey and my mom looked so proud and gazed at me with love and adoration. They even ate a few of the aliens themselves. Gross? Why are you eating alien? Once it was safe enough, I insisted on getting out of the main tent. The overwhelming stench of blood and sickly sweet rotting meat was too much for my senses. The aftermath of the carnival was brutal. Bodies, both human and disfigured, lay scattered like insects. Blood soaked into the dirt and was splattered on everything in sight. What had been harvested appeared to only be a small portion of those sacrificed. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I couldn't think and my belly was full of raw slug-like aliens. The situation was simply inconceivable. I barely registered as Casey slipped his fingers through mine.
You look so broken and void of life, my sweet, hollow angel. Oh, I love that expression of yours.
That is it. I'm about to punch you in the stomach. His hand tightened uncomfortably around mine and he pulled me closer. I did nothing, allowing myself to be manipulated. Casey's face instantly became normal and sweet again.
I'll always owe you for saving my life, for paying the price that I should have paid. I don't care how or what I have to do. I'm just glad you're alive. I'll always be here for you, to help you flourish, no matter how scary and sad the situation.
Yeah. Casey's manic words are probably meant to be reassuring, but they fell on deaf ears. Casey gently took my other hand. Both of his hands now held mine, and he tenderly interlaced our fingers.
I've been with you all your life, and I support you, now, even during your darkest hours. I love you. Can't you see how much I love you?
Oh, but you force-fed me mush. Casey leaned in. His lips touched mine softly and sweetly. Oh, my dear lord. I will say though, he looks really hot here and the art is gorgeous. It was hard for me to even feel anything to care. I felt vacant in every sense of the word. The trauma I'd endured was so fresh. Still, Casey continued to shower me with adoration and sweet kisses. Then he made me go shower first, we're kinda covered in blood. I found myself responding to his persistent lips, his soft touch. He handled me as if I was fragile and precious. My heavy thoughts receded, pushed to the back of my mind. The darkness and negativity ceased to matter when I shut them out, replacing them with gratification. I squeezed Casey's hand and kissed him back eagerly, as if I were drowning and he was a lungful of air. Even though so much death has occurred, beauty can still be found in these dark depths. Casey's good end, the sweetest kisses, are tinted with blood. I have a feeling that Casey does not get a single actual good end. Alright, so we are back here. This time I'm gonna ask him to escape the carnival with me. Couldn't we try to escape the carnival and just leave this nightmare behind? Repeat that, or better yet, explain in more detail. Casey was utterly flabbergasted, as if the notion was wild and inconceivable. I mean just that we could leave. I really want to leave this mess behind. Why do you seem so against the idea? You won't survive out there. You don't understand. Casey protested, becoming emotional again. I know you said you have no regrets that you saved me, but you really don't remember how bad the accident was. It was terrible. How bad was it? I hesitated to even ask because of how wound up Casey had become. You ended up in critical care and fell into a year-long coma. Casey's word felt like a dream, as if they didn't pertain to me. I clutched my head alarmed. I don't remember it all. I know. Every time you come back, you never remember the details of the accident or the past carnivals. At least the rest of your memory is intact. I felt a foreboding dense mass grow within me. Past carnivals. I've lost some of my recent memories? Remember, your mum is here. She can help you. She can help treat your wound correctly. She can explain this to you herself. Right now, the only reason you're even awake is because of Vivienne. If you leave the carnival and don't allow her to help you, I can't guarantee that you'll stay conscious. You need to go see her. I've been meaning to ask, how is she even here? Why is she at the main tent? She's here for you, to keep you conscious and healthy. Why would me leaving the carnival and leaving her mean I wouldn't survive? What would happen if I die? Slip back into my coma? How could my mom even help me with that? She's only human. Every answer led to more questions. Casey grew increasingly sorrowful the more erratic I became. I don't think I can explain this right. You need to see it yourself to truly understand. Please, Yinny, come with me to the main tent and talk to Vivienne. You'll have your answers. Adamantly convinced Casey to escape. No, come on. No, I want to get out of this place. I've seen too much horror and death. I want to go home. I don't want to believe anything Casey's saying. Even if my mom is at the main tent, she should be safe and make it home as well. My resistance caused a sudden shift in Casey's demeanor and the atmosphere around him. I can't talk you out of this, can I? You're so stubborn. You've always been. The changes in Casey's voice and expression frightened me. It was as if all light and life had been sucked out from him. Or sucked something else out from him. Leaving only a hollow giddiness. I won't let you run away so easily. I know what's best for you. I can save you. I fearfully backed away, not recognizing Casey. He suddenly brought out rope and pounced on me, binding my hands behind my back and tying my legs together. Wow, he is fast. What are you doing? Help! I futilely shouted, aware that my pleas for help would go unanswered. Stop struggling. I don't want to agitate your wound. It's obvious to me now that you need me. You need my guidance because you simply don't know any better. Casey was gentle, but reprimanding. I was so stunned at his change, I almost didn't believe it. Casey, please, stop this. Casey didn't relent and picked up my bound body easily. I had no idea where I was. Somewhere in the carnival, maybe. It didn't look like I was in a tent, but I couldn't imagine anywhere else I'd be. The room was plush and inviting. Velvet bound my wrists. I felt like a life-size doll, prettily dressed but chained. My cage was gilded, but there was no mistaking that I was imprisoned. The show mistress walked in without her mask and hat. It was the first time I'd seen her so closely, and had the opportunity to talk to her directly. So this is Casey's taste. My darling daughter looks like an innocent doll. The way she chuckled at the situation was detached and cruel. Wait, Mom? I was stunned when I realized the show mistress had been my mom all along. Please, Mom, you have to let me go. I'm tired of being trapped. Casey has complete control over me. Vivienne clicked her tongue at me. I'm disappointed in you, dear. You tried to run off without even talking to me. You'd die out there in the real world if I wasn't around to help you. If I leave you unmonitored, you just run off again. Trust me, my mini-me's. I'm gonna keep you alive forever. So stop begging to be let go and make this easier on all of us. Her words were a stab to my heart, shattering my trust in her. Casey, you've proven yourself, so I'm granting your request. You can take care of Yiddy until the next carnival. Casey was beyond blissful at Vivienne's words. His expression contorted into one of mad ecstasy. Oh no, he is absolutely like cum in his pants right now. It's like I don't know you both anymore. Once Vivienne left, Casey sat behind me and wrapped himself around me like a snake. I squirmed, irritated and desperate to wish the soul away. I'll never forget this. You're sick. Unable to move, I was at Casey's mercy as he ran his fingers through my hair and caressed it fondly. No matter how much I begged and pleaded, it was futile. Please, just listen to me, Casey. There has to be another way. Let me out of here.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Yes, you can.
Last time I tried that, you attempted to escape, didn't you? I've learned my lesson. I'll only loosen your bindings at night, so we can sleep together lying down.
No!
I have to punish you somehow for trying to escape, right?
A sense of dread churned in the pit of my stomach. I promise I won't try to leave again.
I don't believe you, sweet angel of mine. You have to remember that you can't ever leave me. You need me, and you need to be taken care of, oh, so delicately.
I flinched away from his touch, from the heat of his body that encompassed mine.
I'll bring you your favorite meal, and a new dress if you act like a good girl.
Blech.
I'll even make you feel good. Euphoric. I'll give you the greatest pleasure. If only you'd behave for me.
Ew! Casey caressed my waist, pulling me in closer and running his hand along the length of my side.
I love you. I've always loved you. I've wanted you for a long time now.
Well, I don't want you. His hot breath on my neck caused shivers of ecstasy to run down my spine. His soft lips on my sensitive flesh sent me over the edge. Casey, captive end. Oh, god damn it. There is not a single happy ending for this guy. At all. Maybe we'll fare better with Leon? Leon, help me, you're my only hoe. Right, so we are back here. Basically, you get put onto Leon's route if you choose to go on the bumper cars with him. Take a selfie with him and take his hand instead. So this time, I am going to escape the carnival. Can we escape this place? If we can leave the carnival without any of these things following us, wouldn't we be home free? I think I prefer that to being surrounded by all this death and chaos. Leon was conflicted, but at the same time, strangely relieved. It's not that simple. We can't just leave without running into problems. What does that even mean? What kind of problems? Leon seemed unsure, but couldn't stay quiet anymore. You can't leave this carnival just yet. Everything going on here is happening because Vivienne is trying to give you another chance at life. What are you talking about? I'm alive, aren't I? You're speaking as if you're talking with a dead person. You may not remember, but that accident you were in, it put you into a coma. How on earth do you know about my accident? Who are you? I started to back away, realizing just how little I knew this man. Your mum told me about your accident, but just listen to me. I'm trying to tell you that the only thing keeping you alive right now is a combination of your mum's handiwork and black magic. You keep mentioning her, but what does my mum have to do with any of this? How do you even know her? You probably won't believe me, but she's the person behind this tragic carnival. For a long time, she's been harvesting the aliens and these monsters outside, Lesser Zyra, so that you could consume them. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here conscious and talking to me. I can't see any way for you to keep surviving, unless you keep that cycle up. What do you mean, cycle? This isn't the first carnival of curiosities you've been to. I went silent trying to process everything. You're telling me, I've eaten those aliens. How does that even work? You're host to the main Zyra, so consuming lesser Zyra gives you health and a long life. It's living within you right now, buried in your chest cavity. I freaked out. I felt the middle of my chest. Nothing felt different. My heartbeat was a bit erratic due to my alarm, but it felt normal. And my mom is here, caused all of this. Yes, Vivienne is here at the main tent, which is why you're trying to take you to the main tent, yes. This is all too much. Way too much. I paced, trying to make sense of Leon's words. There's a lot to take in at once. That's an understatement. I tried hard to recall anything after my car accident. My eyebrows furrowed when I could retrieve very little. All I remember was being in a car accident, recuperating for a long time, in the hospital, and maybe going back home. Then it was all blank and I was excited to be here at the carnival. I hadn't realized it before, but there was a large recent gap in my memory. I must have looked frightened or miserable because Leon patted my shoulder comfortingly. His oddly cold demeanor from before and ominous tone had all but disappeared as he watched me balk at my unfortunate circumstance. Why did you say we both can't leave without running into problems? You don't have the same issues I have, right? Mine are more personal. What on earth could be so personal that would tie you to this hellhole willingly? You seemed unwilling to speak any further on the topic. You just dropped a lot on me right now. The least you could do is distract me for a bit and tell me what's keeping you here. Nothing you say would surprise me right now. Leon let out a dry scoff. You have a point there, and it may not be so bad to finally share this with someone. You never talked about this with anyone. No, but sharing it with a little kitty may be helpful. A glimmer of life flickered through Leon's eyes again. The distance from before long gone. I'm waiting. Fancy boots? Leon paused, still apprehensive but shaking it off. I wasn't telling you the whole truth earlier. It's not that Taylor doesn't have time for me. He disappeared a while ago. He's probably been murdered. Like Leon had done for me. I rubbed his shoulder and arm comfortingly. You're not gonna like what I'm about to say next. I'll at least listen. I'm at this carnival because I believe someone here is responsible for Taylor's death and I've been trying to get hard evidence to bring them to justice. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I just can't find that last bit of evidence I need. I found my next question hard to ask. Leon's words, that I wouldn't like what he was about to say, echoing in my head. Who do you suspect? Vivian and Remy were at the last location Taylor was seen. His trail goes cold in the house Vivian owns in Massachusetts, which Remy was staying at. That doesn't make any sense. Remy was staying at one of my mom's houses. I had no idea. But it couldn't have been my mom. For your sake, I hope not. What did you want to do when you found your hard evidence? Confront the person and have them convicted. Or at least that was my original plan. Now I'm not so sure. I'm sure Taylor's been murdered, and whoever did it deserves worse than jail time. Leon, I want to help you. We could talk to my mom together. I'm sure she wouldn't kill someone like that for no reason. Leon motions to the general area around him. Okay, so there's a lot I don't understand, but I feel like she's not guilty of at least Taylor's disappearance. Why don't we talk to her? Find out what we both need to know and then leave this place. Leon was quiet for a long while. At first he was tense then conflicted. And finally he settled on being relieved. Then I'll let you speak to Vivienne on my behalf. His voice suddenly became quieter and smaller. Can I really trust you with this? I took a hold of Leon's hand. You've been at this carnival helping my mom take the lives of innocent people just to find out what happened to your brother. I want to help you, Leon. Taylor meant so much to you. I have a lot of questions on my own, but for now, I just want to survive and help you the best I can. Leon's eyes became watery as he stared into mine. It's decided then. We'll leave the carnival once we wrap things up with Vivienne. Yes, just follow my lead. He's a little kitty now. I teasingly yanked on the chain attached to Leon's collar. Hehe. Despite himself, he cracked a smile. Then lead the way. He challenged. I will when you point me in the right direction. I'm not letting go of this chain just yet. I tugged on a bit more, pulling Leon towards me. If I wasn't mistaken, Leon became flushed. I heard him mumble under his breath. Don't let go. Aww. Alright, so we get to Vivienne, and we confront her. I don't understand. You want me to never host another carnival again, and you want to know everything I know about Taylor's disappearance. And you want to leave with Leon. That sums it up, yes. Oh my dear Yinny, you're really asking a lot of your poor mom. A woman who coordinates a whole carnival just to sacrifice all of its participants must be a pretty extraordinary woman. I don't think I'm asking a lot. Vivienne freely laughed as if I paid her the greatest compliment. You're asking to go off on your own again. It's a lot for a mum to take a second time. I've already had to deal with you moving out after college. I glared at Leon, especially since you want to leave with such a flirt. I like the flirt. He's a bit of a man-ho, but he's a cute man-ho. Tell me about Taylor. As you wish, my mini-muse. Mom, stop calling me that in front of others. I looked up at Leon, who was hiding a smile, and playfully smacked his arm. Taylor was an unfortunate situation. I'd never seen or met the young man. Before the Carnival of Curiosities even existed, he ended up with Remy in his magic study and became the subject of one of his magical experiments. All I saw personally was Taylor's remnants. If evidence is what you seek, I can show you where he was buried. That would be enough to convict Remy. Leon was noticeably fuming, but also seemed to be trying to control himself. Then, could you take me to Taylor's resting place? The words seemed difficult for him to get out. As soon as the harvest is over, my darling Yinny needs to eat to keep her health up. Vivienne focused her attention on me. You do understand that consuming the lesser Zyra is how you're here today, but you still want me to never host another carnival again. Leon told me something similar. I do understand that, but isn't there another way I can survive without so many people paying the price? Vivienne laughed cruelly, as if their lives didn't matter, but eventually tried to meet me halfway. There may be a way to survive on one sacrifice at a time for a shorter period of time. The carnival is a bi-decadal experience, meaning it only happens, once every 5 years, as you well know. I try to make sure you consume enough life force to sustain you until the next one. However, one person a month will be able to keep you awake and healthy. The ritual is simple. I'll be able to teach it to you, so I can leave and stop these carnivals and deaths for good, but I need to sacrifice one person a month. Either option seems cruel. I see no other way. If you don't sacrifice at least one person a month, you'll slip back into your coma. Leon cut in. There has to be another way. What about animal sacrifice? A cornerstone of black magic. I don't see why it can't at least be tried. But I wouldn't gamble on something untested and unreliable. If an animal host could be used as a lesser Zyra's host, it'll be no different than hunting and eating what you kill. On the other hand, it's untested and no good if it backfires. What if Yinny slips back into a coma? I just stick with what's proven to work. What do you think, Yinny? I prefer... Let's do animal this time, and then human. Alright, but if it backfires, don't say I didn't warn you. So you're really leaving with Leon? Together. Leon and I looked at each other and smiled. Yes, Vivienne playfully pouted for a moment but tightly hugged me. This is the first carnival you've been so lively and like your old self. You're really turning a corner with your health. Whatever you do, enjoy yourself, won't you? Okay, this seems too good to be true and too easy. You've been given another chance at life. All I wanted was for you to be alive, healthy and happy. If he doesn't make you happy, let me know. I'll dispose of him. Dispose of him? Sounds like a plan. My mom and I laughed while Leon was noticeably uncomfortable. You're really getting the hang of this, little kitty. Thanks. A deer lay on the forest floor after it had been humanely slaughtered. I chanted a simple spell to preserve the deer's life energy before infecting the preserved corpse with a lesser Zyra. This way, the host, and in this case a deer, wouldn't suffer the transformation, but I would still ingest the results and regain health. After harvesting the deer and taking back the remains of the meat, Leon and I started up a campfire and sat in our tiny camp. I bet Lionel's gonna love those leftovers.
He always does. He's such a spoiled thing. Even at the sanctuary, he regularly begs for extra treats.
Didn't they tell us he's the biggest lion they're housing, and he acts like the biggest baby?
Truer words have never been spoken.
Leon hugged me tightly. I'm sorry you couldn't keep Lionel, Leon.
We don't have enough space. He wouldn't have been happy. I think he's better off at the sanctuary. Besides, we can visit him at any time.
You're right. I squirmed out of Leon's arms and looked him in the eyes. So Remy is on trial in a few days. How are you feeling about that?
Relieved. I feel like I can finally breathe again. After feeling so heavy for decades. It's so freeing. I just hope they see sense and convict him.
My mom was right about where Taylor was buried. It doesn't look great for Remy that Taylor's body was found around his home.
I'm glad the bastard is egotistical. If not, he might have been more careful at where he stashed the body.
The evidence is there, and my mom is helping to find more. I'm optimistic it'll all work out.
Taylor can finally rest in peace. And what about you? Are you feeling okay?
I feel pretty energetic. I can't complain, especially when I'm wearing these fancy boots he got me.
We're matching, aren't we?
He's so cute. I think he might be my favorite, my little himbo. I wouldn't have it any other way. Aww. I scooted in front of Leon, leaning against his chest. He wrapped his arms around me, encompassing me in them. The sky was already dark now. Multitudes of stars shone brightly. Leon's warmth drove away the night air's chill. I snuggled against him contentedly and looked up to him. I'm so glad my path led me here to you. Leon's eyes were filled with affection.
The hardship and pain was worth this moment. You are worth it.
Our lips met sweetly under the starry sky. We savored each other's warmth and adoration as the campfire crackled and the forest came alive. Leon's good end. Yay! Oh, that was so cute. I'm glad Leon at least gets a good end, unlike someone, Casey. Alright, now that we're back here, let's choose animal sacrifice. Oh, he looks so sad. It's really the only choice if you want to err on the side of caution. Leon looked disapproving but understanding. I don't want you to gamble with your life, do what you have to. So you're really leaving with Leon? Together. Leon and I looked at each other and smiled. Yes. Alright, so then she gives us her blessing to leave. I drove a knife into an alien horror's chest and ripped out the lesser Zyra, consuming it whole on the spot. It had become a ritual. Every month I'd find a new victim, lure them to somewhere secluded and infect them. For the first few months, Leon would come along to help me contain the alien horror and dispose of their body. Eventually though, I was having to find the victim, lure them and harvest them and dispose of their body all by myself. It was hard, nerve-wracking work, but I had to sign on this path so there was never to be another carnival and mass slaughter ever again. Plus this way, I was able to live with Leon like a normal person. Or semi-normal at least. However, I saw Leon less and less nowadays. He started leaving earlier in the day and coming home late at night. It was obvious he was avoiding me. I saw the way he looked at me recently, with disgust and pity in his eyes. Soon, I too felt disgusting and pitiful. I never wanted to kill in the first place, but doing it alone was even worse. And knowing Leon thought the worst of me made it all the more unbearable. I constantly felt as if I was tainted. I could never wash my hands enough to get the blood off them. It perpetually stained me. I spent my nights crying, I was barely sleeping. I've had enough of this. One night when Leon finally came home, I stayed up and ambushed him.
What are you still doing up?
It's the only time you're home. The only time I can talk to you. You've been avoiding me. Lately I've been wondering how long it'll be before you just stop coming back. Leon stayed quiet, not refuting anything but unable to say anything in response. I know why. It's because you're disgusted with me and what I have to do to survive. I see it in your face. You can't even look me in the eyes right now. Leon's gaze dropped to the floor shamefully. I've come up with a solution, and you're gonna help me. I led Leon to an empty room and spread out a blanket. Sit here. I pointed to a location on the blanket that sat in front of Leon, tearing the cloth away from my chest. Cut it out. I don't want to keep killing people anymore. If you remove the Zyra from my chest, I can return to normal. I placed a large knife in Leon's hand. He became alarmed.
You'll fall back into your coma.
I can't keep killing anymore. Please just return me to normal. If I wake from my coma, I'll have a chance at a normal life. That's all I want. A chance. To be normal with you. Leon was conflicted. His hand gripping the knife was shaking. I placed my hand over his reassuringly. Please, Leon. You're the only one I can ask to do this for me. The pain and torment I bore must have stirred him into action, because he finally agreed.
All right. Turn around.
I did as I was told. Leon, who sat behind me, pulled me back so I was leaning on his chest for support.
Close your eyes.
I began to cry. A strange mixture of happiness, relief, and sorrow consuming me. Leon's hand shook worse than before, and I felt tear droplets land on my shoulder. He successfully plunged a knife in the correct location, avoiding my sternum and cutting through the cartilage of my ribcage. The crunching and squelching sickened me. I quickly realized I was fading in and out of consciousness. I could feel Leon moving around inside of me, not in the sexy way either. Looking for the Zyra and painstakingly gutting it from my chest. The worst pain imaginable exploded through my upper body. My body went limp, and I somehow knew my consciousness was fading for good. I was slipping into my coma again. I'll wake up again. I know it. I muttered half-conscious. Leon brokenly sobbed. I could feel him stroking my hair and arms. I hope I wake up again soon, so I can get a real second chance at life. And I never wake up again. Where? Alright, this time, let's choose go to the main tent for safety. Leon was uncharacteristically reticent. Yes, the main tent is the safest in the carnival. The show mistress was the first person I saw as she arrived. I was taken aback by the state of the main tent and the scene before me. I immediately regret agreeing to come here. This place didn't look safe at all. If anything, the whole area reeked of death and danger. Vivian, your knees here. Vivienne, that's my mom's name. Okay, then we find out that Vivienne is our mom. I thank you for bringing her here safely, Leon. Of course. I wouldn't wish for anything bad to happen to your precious daughter. It's painful losing a loved one, isn't it? Vivienne's eyes narrowed, her whole mood shifted. I looked at my mum strangely, then locked eyes with Leon. He smoothly guided me, so I stood in front of his body. He twisted an arm around my neck, holding his bloody gun to my head. Whoa! What is this? Vivienne's voice was demanding and furious. She took a bold step forward and Leon cocked his gun as a warning. I have reasonable suspicion that you have something to do with the disappearance of my brother Taylor. Salem, Massachusetts, Samhain, October 31st, 2020, at midnight to 3 a.m. Ring any bells? Leon's biting tone was grating, but I didn't dare move. Just before arriving, I noticed Leon put more ammo into his gun. Let's not drag this out. Get to your point, you failure of an ex-cop. Whoa! Taylor's trail went cold that night after it led me to one of the many houses registered under your name. Right before that, I have eyewitness testimonials confirming that both you and Taylor attended an exclusive ceremony held by a powerful coven. You both took part in a ritual aimed at conjuring and speaking to the dead. The cherry on top, my drinking buddy, is that just recently you went on one of your many alcohol binges and let it slip yourself that you were present at the ceremony. Tell me plainly, you lured Taylor back to your place and killed him, didn't you? Vivienne didn't bat an eye at his accusation, nor did she reply. She proudly stood in place, as if she were deciding how to handle an annoying insect. This aggravated Leon to no end. Tell me the truth. Confess. Leon pressed the gun into my temple harder. The cold, hard metal made me recoil. Leon! What the hell? Vivienne stood still, not admitting to anything. Don't hurt Yinny, she said slowly and authoritatively. If you hurt her, not only will you never find out about Taylor, you'll die too. Leon growled. Was Taylor killed to save Yinny? He's dead, isn't he? The whole situation felt so surreal, that Leon would be holding me at gunpoint. That his brother was dead, but worst of all, that my own mom could have had something to do with it. And something else was nagging me too. Leon said this all happened in 2020. I made it sound as if that year was in the past, but I thought the current year was 2018. Time discrepancies aside, I had to do something. The situation was getting heated. Alright, time to beg my mom to tell Leon the truth. Mom, please. If he knows something, tell him. I stared at my mom with desperation. She met my confused, sad eyes. With a chilling tone, she looked at Leon and reluctantly confessed. I actually know less than your evidence would have you to believe. What your eyewitnesses didn't tell you was that Remy was present at that ceremony as well. If you want to know what happened to your brother, ask him. Oh, I know Remy was there. I just thought that the show mistress, mastermind behind this unholy mess, would know more. Leon stormed out of the tent with me in tow. He's probably taking me with him to confront Remy. He held me by the wrist and shot any alien horror that came too close, but my head was still reeling from the unanswered questions. What did you mean when you said my mom was behind all this? Were you talking about this carnival and all of this death? That's not important right now. What's important is finding Remy and learning the truth. It's important to me. I don't even know what year it is right now. I tried to squirm out of Leon's grasp, beyond agitated. He didn't answer me, and his grip certainly didn't loosen. He seemed so consumed by his own dark thoughts that I wasn't even sure he had heard me. A group of reavers sprung from the earth, forming a circle around me and Leon. We could advance no further. Leon cursed under his breath and roared. Vivienne, call off your devil spawn. Leon clutched my wrist tighter, forcing me to the front of his body and held me at gunpoint yet again. The reavers didn't move and neither did Leon. He didn't take his eyes off them, strategizing the best way to take them down. I placed my hand on Leon's arm. It was twined around my neck, keeping me in place. He didn't seem to notice my movements. It's now or never. I sank down, using all my body weight to drop to the floor, successfully slipping out of his grasp. I didn't look back as I ran away. A gunshot whizzed past my leg, grazing it. Leon must have been trying to shoot me in the leg to stop me from running. It wouldn't have been a lethal hit, but still. I felt a vice grip on my arm. Leon had caught up with me. Man, I thought you liked me and that we were gonna be together. You can't leave yet. I noticed the reavers had immediately closed in. Several were about to attack Leon. Ugh, he was obviously struggling to keep his grip on me while fighting the reavers off. Gunshots were going off in quick succession. A reaver held Leon down as he dragged me down with him. While he was still reeling, I took the opportunity to snatch his gun, aiming it straight at him. The reaver stopped attacking. Leon slowly sat up, locked his gaze in mine, tears pricked at the corner of my eyes. Couldn't you have done this a different way? Did you have to threaten me? Did you have to shoot at me? Leon stirred. No sudden movements. Look, I'm sorry it happened this way, but I have to get Remy so I can know what happened to Taylor. To do that, this was the only way. Leon didn't look apologetic, nor did he seem like the man I had met earlier. All I saw in his eyes was a clawing desperation, anger, and sadness. Before I could react properly, Leon grabbed at the gun in my hand. He aimed it upwards and I tried prying it from my grip. I'm not gonna let you use me anymore. I fought back as the reavers moved in too. I ended up straddling Leon, while he was flat on his back, still struggling to take back his gun. I tried my best to keep the gun pointed anywhere but at myself when the gun suddenly went off. Leon fell motionless. and a pit formed in my stomach as I realized I'd shot him square in the forehead. I was horrified as I watched the life fade from him. His eyes open and blank, I scrambled off Leon and dropped his gun. Tears that had threatened to escape earlier now flowed freely down my face. Leon's death end. Man! Alright, this time we'll reason with Leon. I made up my mind, gathered my resolve, and swiftly turned in Leon's arms so I was face to face with him. I stared fiercely into his eyes, my sense of betrayal evident in my hardened expression. What the hell is all this, Leon? How could you use me like this? And betray my feelings? Leon seemed baffled for a second before defending himself. This is the only way. People won't confess unless they have someone they love on the line. I have no involvement with your brother's disappearance. How could you stoop so low? I'd do anything to know what happened to Taylor. Do you know how maddening it is to not even know if your little brother is dead or alive for years on end? Leon's voice was breaking. If it assures your mind, Eddie, I'm almost certain he's dead now. Hasn't it been about 65 years? A normal human lifespan only lasts about 80 years or so. Shut up, you bitter crone. Mom, what are you talking about? Vivian ignored my question, as did Leon. I'll prefer if Taylor had died of old age somewhere comfortable with those he loves than as a 24-year-old with his life ahead of him. Leon's voice was breaking terribly now, his amethyst eyes watery. While I wanted to get my questions answered, I knew I had to focus on the situation at hand. I glared at Leon. All you had to do was to ask me to help you. If you had just told me Taylor had disappeared, I would have stopped at nothing to help you. Even now, all you have to do is ask. It was just for a moment, but Leon faltered. The grip on his gun weakened. I took the opportunity to snatch the gun from his hand and turn it on him and step back. Leon stood there stunned, unable to react for a moment before his face crumpled with pain and tears. You have no idea how many decades I spent trying to verify what happened to my little brother. Something inside me knew he was dead long ago, but I spent so long trying to get solid evidence on his murder and bring them to justice. Leon buried his head in his hands for a minute, then looked straight into my eyes. So many carnivals have come and gone, each one with endless crowds, piles of bodies. I'd scan each face, alive and dead, hoping to catch a glimpse of my brother. Every time I thought I saw his face, I realized I was only deluding myself. Time has marched on for both of us, and I've been doing all I can to keep up. There was an evident mix of both raging anger and crushing pain in his eyes and voice. I never wanted to hurt you, Yinny. I'm sorry it happened like this. Despite the insult I felt at being held at gunpoint and used, I could tell Leon genuinely regretted his actions. Are you gonna ask me to help you now? Leon nodded and obediently begged. Please, help me find out about Taylor. I lowered the gun and turned back to my mom. Mom, what is it that you know about Taylor's disappearance? Vivian seemed more than a bit surprised at the turn of events, but smirked as if she was satisfied. If it's you asking, my darling mini muse, I'll answer. But Leon has to vow not to turn on you. I hate Vivian. I looked at Leon, who nodded. I wouldn't turn on Yinny. In that case, you may be disappointed to know it wasn't me who met Taylor at the ceremony. It was Remy. I never met or even saw the young man, just what remained of him after one of Remy's magical experiments went wrong. Anger had now overtaken Leon's tone more than sorrow. Whether he's your ward or not, Vivian, I'm confronting him. Vivian sighed and waved a hand dismissively. Oh, karma has a way of coming around. If he must pay for his actions, he must pay. I wouldn't stop you. Would you like me to teleport you to where he is? I'm assuming he's in his tent. Leon shook his head roughly and growled. He's my prey. I'm gonna hunt him down and beat the life out of him with my own two hands. Leon bolted out of the tent. I followed after, trying to keep up with his long strides. Where are you going? I mean, where are we going? There's only so many places Remy can be. I'm checking them all until I find him. Magic firebolts soar through the air. The cloak of electricity surrounds Remy's body. Remy's magic flames left scorch marks on Leon's clothing, but not once did he falter as he dodged the elemental magic projectiles hurled at him. Leon engaged Remy at a close distance, as long range even with a gun would put him at a disadvantage. Given Remy's magical talent, Leon tackled Remy to the ground, biting his own tongue to stop himself from screaming out due to the electrical current surging through his body. Remy's electric defense would be deadly if Leon kept in contact with it. Fighting its paralyzing effects, Leon hammered his fist onto Remy's face. Remy's cloak of electricity immediately fizzled out. Leon mercilessly brought his gun to Remy's head.
Don't you have anything to say about Taylor's death? Don't you have any remorse for your actions?
You could never understand, Leon. So, I won't bother explaining anything to that thick skull of yours. Just know that I have no remorse.
Okay, well, we've had enough. Kill him.
Human bodies alone are too weak to host a disembodied spirit. And that's why your brother died. He wasn't strong enough.
Well, he's been murked. Leon held his gun to the side of Remy's head, staring straight into his eyes as he pulled the trigger and blew Remy's brains out. His blood splattered onto Leon, but Leon was already so covered in blood he didn't seem to notice. He closed his eyes and breathed in deeply, as if he were relishing the moment, but then stood up. I was shell-shocked at witnessing a murder right before my eyes, and was unable to tear my attention from Remy's gruesome body. Leon broke my gaze on Remy's corpse by standing in front of me. I didn't react, but that didn't deter him from lifting my chin and kissing me deeply. Whoa! He effortlessly lifted me and seated me onto a nearby table. I was very well aware of the fact that I could have stopped him, but I couldn't bring myself to. I wanted this. I wanted him, even if the situation was twisted. I mean, yeah, girl, get it. He continued to kiss me hard, his lips moving quickly and ravenously against mine. He squeezed me against his firm body so tightly I was left breathless. Leon! I felt his caressing hand on my lower back while his tongue ran across my bottom lip, heating me up. My brain blissfully shut down as I wrapped my legs around his waist. I melted into his passionate, smothering kisses, enveloping myself in his embrace and letting his tongue explore wherever it pleased. Whoa! Leon dirtied me with slick, warm blood. His hands roughly wandered my body, causing me to sweetly shiver. I could faintly hear the chaos still reigning outside as Reavers sliced down alien horrors. But all of that seemed so far away, as I remained lost in ecstasy, fueled both by gratitude and lust in Leon's muscular arms. Leon Revenge End. And that's all the endings for Leon and Casey's route. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I'll be honest, I didn't realize that Casey was going to be the absolute freakiest. I thought Jude was going to be the freakiest, as in the jester. I thought he was going to be the weirdest. But no, like, Casey, I think is the absolute worst. He doesn't even have a happy ending. But yeah, I really like this. I think after playing through all of the routes, my favorite is probably Leon, to be honest, because I really like how genuinely sweet he was. Casey is unhinged. Remy, he's like very gorgeous, but personality-wise isn't quite my favorite type. Jude is like my favorite in terms of looks, but I think personality-wise and also looks as well, like Leon just fits the bill because he's so cute and sweet. But thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. Feel free to let me know who was your favorite character in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear it. And also, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. And if you want to hang out outside of videos, I stream on Twitch 3 times a week. Feel free to come over and hang out. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining me on every adventure. And until next time, take care.